Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are making this cute little starfish or star bookmark. You can call it whichever you think it looks more like. You can make it in two different versions. First, the simple one where it sits between the pages and the star hangs over the cover, or you can connect the strap and turn it into a slip over the page bookmark that I will show you just in a second. It's also super easy and quick project that anyone can try. Also, you can customize it however you like, make it in a single color or add a little swirl detail on the front as I did. And of course, you can make it smaller or larger depending on whether you want a small cute version or a larger one. And this is over the page version. I will show you how to make both so you can decide which one you prefer as we go along. So let's jump right into it. Now, first things first, you will need two colors of yarn to get started, but you can totally go for just one color, no rules here. And I'm using a mix of wool and alpaca, but honestly any fiber you love will do the trick. And I'm working with iron weight yarn, which is perfect for what we're making. And if you're looking for something a bit smaller, feel free to grab a thinner yarn, or if you want to go big, a thicker yarn will work wonders too. Just to give you a little idea, I'm using about 3 grams of each color and I'm pretty sure there will be leftovers. Don't forget your trusty scissors and a 5mm crochet hook for iron weight yarn. If you're using a different yarn weight, just check the label for the recommended hook size. Oh, and don't forget a darning needle to finish up your project. To start your project, grab your first color of yarn, whichever color you want your star to be, and you need to make a magic ring. For my magic ring, I'm placing yarn onto 2 fingers like that by leaving a longer yarn tail. I'm wrapping my yarn around the fingers to create an X. I hold onto that X, place this working yarn above the tail, insert your hook under the first strand, then grab the second strand, pull it through, and just chain one with that working yarn. Now I need to untwist my tail like always, and after you need to chain one more extra, so you have 2 in total. And now you will be making 14 double crochets into the magic circle, and that chain 2 does not count as the first stitch, so you will make 14 double crochets in total. So you need to yarn over, insert your hook into the magic circle under those both strands, and grab the yarn, pull it through, and yarn over, pull it through 2 loops, yarn over and pull it through 2 loops again. Now you have your first double crochet stitch, and if you want you can use a stitch marker. I always do, so you can see where is your first double crochet is. And now you need to make another double crochet stitch, and you just repeat until you have 14 double crochets in total. I will do that off camera and I'll meet you at the very end. When you have 14 double crochet around, you can recount just to make sure. And now you need to grab this yarn tail and tighten up. You will see the magic ring is closed. And now you need to join your last double crochet with the first double crochet by making a slip stitch. So you need to insert your hook into that very first double crochet, yarn over, pull it through the stitch, and pull it through the loop on the hook. Tighten up. And now for the round 2 you will make star fingers. Not sure how to name it, but you need to chain 7. You will skip the very first chain and insert your hook into the next, and you will make slip stitch, so yarn over and pull it through the chain and the loop on the hook. Into the next stitch it's single crochet, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through that chain, yarn over and pull through those 2 loops on the hook. Now you have your single crochet stitch. Into the next 2 chains you need to make half double crochet stitches, so you need to yarn over and insert your hook into the next chain, yarn over, pull the yarn through the stitch. You have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, and pull the yarn through all 3 loops on the hook. Now you repeat exactly the same into the next stitch, and you have those 2 half double crochet stitches. Now into the next chain you will be making double crochet, so you yarn over, insert your hook into the next chain, yarn over, pull the yarn through the chain, yarn over, pull the yarn through 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull the yarn through 2 loops on the hook again. Into the next chain you will make treble crochet stitch, so you need to yarn over 2 times, insert your hook into that last chain, yarn over, pull the yarn through the chain, you have 4 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull the yarn through 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull the yarn through 2 loops on the hook again, and yarn over and finish through those 2 loops again. Now you have your very first star finger. Let's say that. If someone knows how I can call it, leave me a comment, but I will call it fingers, star fingers. And now you need to join your finger with a circle. So for the first one you need to count from the very first stitch where you started your star finger, and you count 1 and 2 and you join into the third. So you insert your hook and just make a slip stitch. Now again you need to chain 7, and you repeat exactly the same as for the first star finger. You need to make a slip stitch, skip the first chain, make a slip stitch into the next, then single crochet, 2 half double crochets into the next 2 chains, then 1 double crochet, and finish with treble crochet stitch. From the second star finger, when you're joining this part with a circle, you need to start counting from the next stitch, not from the same where your finger starts. So you count from the next, and then you will join into the third stitch by making a slip stitch. So it was just the first one a little bit different than this one. When you're joining the rest of those parts to the circle, just skip those 2 stitches and join into the third the same way as you did for this second part. You need to have 5 star fingers in total. I will do that off camera and I'll meet you at the very end. So just keep repeating the same process as before. Now when we finished, we have just 2 gaps left, but we're gonna join this 5th one into the space where we started the first one. So just right into the space where you started your kind of foundation chain, and just join with the slip stitch as the rest. Now if you would like your bookmark to be in the one color, you need to follow the next round without cutting the yarn with exactly the same color, and follow the same process as I will do in a different color, or you can change the color and do just the border, because in one color you're not going to have this swirl part as I showed at the beginning. But if you would like to have that swirl part, you need to leave a longer yarn tail, cut the yarn and fasten off. Now you will join a new color, and I recommend joining not into the part where you fasten off, but into a different side, so it will be a little bit easier to do a border. And you need to join just right in between those star fingers. To join the new color, you need to insert your hook into that stitch right in between and leave a longer yarn tail of new color, grab that new color and pull it through the stitch. Now you need to chain 1, and you will start with a slip stitch border, which you need to do on a little bit looser side, on a little bit looser tension. So you will be starting from the next stitch. Actually it's not kind of fully stitched because you had that kind of foundation chain, you always insert under the both loops here. It can look that it has just one strand, but actually it has two. If you pull those aside, you will see two. So you always need to insert there. And you just make a simple slip stitches until the very end. I have 6 slip stitches on the side. The last one is sometimes a little bit harder to see, but just place your slip stitch where you feel comfortable, where it feels like more natural. And after that, you will start crochet on the next side of this part. So you just inserting your hook under the both loops, because here you have a full stitch. And the first one can be a little bit tricky, but the second one is much easier. On this side you should have 6 slip stitches as well. At the very end, you need to place one more slip stitch in between those star fingers, and then you will continue making slip stitches on another side exactly the same way, all the way around until you will reach the very end where you started. I will do that off camera, and I'll meet you at the very end when we have our border. Now when you reach the very end, you need to make the last slip stitch into the space where you started, just like this. And from here we will create a chain that is long enough to go over a book. And here you can decide if you want that kind of just the star hangs over the cover, or you want that slip over the pages. If you prefer the first version of the bookmark I showed you in the video, you just chain as many stitches as you need to make it long enough for your book, or as long as you prefer. And make sure to keep your chains nice and loose so it's easier to work slip stitches back into them later on. And if you would like the version that goes over the pages, you will need to measure your chain as you go. You can do around 50 chains, that's what I did, and then you can measure if it's long enough, if it's tight enough. And I finished my chain. If you would like this hang over the cover, you will start doing the second row of slip stitches back through the chain. If you would like this slip over the pages version, you need to measure if the chain is tight enough for you to connect after with a star. I will show you this another version. So your strand will go here and your star will hang over the cover, over the front page. Now when you decided which version you want and you finish your chain, you insert your hook back into the loop, and you will skip this first chain and you will make slip stitches back on this chain. Just make sure to make it on a looser side, on a looser tension, so when you're making those slip stitches, your hook kind of flows very easily through it. Let's do that off camera and I'll meet you at the very end. Now you can leave it as it is, just join your work with a slip stitch, but if you want this real part, I really recommend to weave in all those yarn tails into the wrong side, so it's not going to be in your way. For weaving the very first middle yarn tail that comes from the magic circle, I recommend to go twice around that very first double crochet row, just to make sure it's not going to unravel. And I finished the first one, then I will go the second time around again. Then I will tighten up and I will finish weaving in the yarn tail into the any part of the work above the magic circle, and I will go forth and back around 3 or 4 times, just making sure I go in between the fibers. Now when you finish weaving in those all yarn tails, you can insert your hook back into the loop, and we're gonna start doing this surface crochet that swirl around the middle part. And for that you need to keep your working yarn behind the star. We still haven't joined our strap with the start, so we just need to insert our hook into that very first stitch where we chain 1, and we're gonna do a slip stitch into that space. So just position your work how is comfortable for you. Hold onto that working yarn and just make a slip stitch. Now you're gonna start the surface crochet and you're gonna start this swirl. You want to make your stitches that is not touching the edge. And now you're gonna start surface crochet, so you just need to insert your hook into the gap not far from that very first slip stitch and make another slip stitch. There is no any rules how you need to position your work as you go with a surface crochet. You just position your work how it feels most comfortable for you. And when you crochet surface crochet, you never insert into exactly the same gap. You always inserting into the gap nearby the previous slip stitch you did, and then you're making another slip stitch. And when you're making the next slip stitch, keep in mind to position your work and place your hook into direction you want your surface crochet to go. So in this case we are going around, so we're gonna try to place our hook into those gaps that going around, and we will keep position our work to that direction so it will be comfortable to work. If you made a mistake and you want to unravel, you just pull that working yarn and you're gonna undo your work. And if you need, this way you can fix any mistakes with the surface crochet. Don't get intimidated, the surface crochet is pretty easy. You might need a little bit practice if you're doing first time, but after a few tries it gets easier and easier, I promise. And just keep in mind that you never insert into the same stitch as previous slip stitch, and just position your work that is comfortable for you, and just keep making those slip stitches to the direction you would like your surface crochet to go. And here for this larger swirl, for the kind of first row of the swirl, I'm doing slip stitches into the treble crochet place, kind of into the very top of maybe double crochet, let's say that. And now I'm gonna start the smaller whirl that goes more into the center, and I will be inserting my hook into the middle of double crochet where you made this magic ring. So I will be going around into those spaces where double crochet is, and I'm gonna finish the last stitch into the very middle. So I will do that first, the smaller whirl to the center, and then I will show you how to finish your surface crochet. Now if you want to finish your surface crochet, you need to finish into this middle part where your magic ring, and it can be hard to force your hook, but it's definitely possible. And you just make the last slip stitch into that space. If you can't force your hook, you can take the needle and just wiggle around so your gap a little bit loosens up. Now, if you want to finish your surface crochet for good, you need to make a larger loop and just leave a longer yarn tail and cut the yarn, and then just kind of fasten off. Just pull that tail to the front. Now you need to grab a darning needle and just secure your end. So you're gonna go straight into the center. Just make sure you're not going through that loop, but just kind of over the loop, and just push that yarn to another side of your work. The only thing you need to do just to weave in the yarn tail and secure your work. And now your first version of the bookmark is finished. So to make another version, anyway, you need to do the first version. And the first version was that the tail goes between the pages and then the start hangs over the cover, over the front or the back page, as you prefer. But if you like to do the second version, that your bookmarker wraps around the pages, you need to sew your tail to one star finger, just like this, and you will sew to this finger. So you need to grab the same color of yarn as your strand. Just make sure your tail is not twisted. Position your work like this. Now you need to insert your needle into the star, into the very edge of it. Leave a longer yarn tail because you need to weave in after, and then you wrap this yarn and insert your needle into the strap. You will create this whip stitch. It's kind of stitch that loops over the edge, and then you will insert again into the start from the back to the front, just like this, into exactly the same space where you started, and one more time into the strap, into the next space, into the star again, and then you will repeat one more time exactly through the same space just to secure it. You will push your yarn and needle into the wrong side of the work, and now the only thing you need to do just to weave in the yarn tails, or you can do as me, just to make like simple 3 knots. And if you're doing for the sales, of course I recommend to weave in the yarn tails, but I'm doing this one for myself, so I'm good with 3 knots. Weaving in the yarn tails, it gives you a little bit more finished look, but it's really up to you which way you want to do. But just remember, if you want to do for sales, I really recommend to weaving in the yarn tails instead of those knots. And your little star bookmark is ready to use. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions, please leave a comment below. I'll do my best to answer them all. And if you found this tutorial helpful, please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscription button. I would really appreciate your support. For now, thank you for watching, and see you in my next tutorial soon.